Good now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to RuneSchool, aka the Runeversity. You are now in Runology 101. My name is Yamis, aka the Yamis Hamis, and I'll be your professor for today's episode. Like, comment, and subscribe because class is in session. In today's class, we have some great topics to review. We have movement tips, eating tech, a discussion about prayer, in-game of course, and last but not least, inventory setup. With all that said, let's begin. All right, food tech. Let's get right into it. So the way that the food works is there's multiple different instances or ways you can consume the food in old school RuneScape. To start things off, there is a normal eating of food, there's a normal drinking of the potion, and then there's combo eats. So you can go from food to potion or food, potion, food. And the triple eat will always, as of now until the release of sailing, it will require a Karambuan as the third combo eat. And Karambuans actually are like 1 tick delay less of eating, but that's kind of irrelevant. We'll get to that in a little bit. So the way that eating can work, will work, is you'll eat 1 anglerfish, right? That's just a normal instance of eating. You eat the 1 food at a time. Or another option is the combo eat. So you will have the 1 food, in this case, it's an anglerfish. You will go from an anglerfish to a potion, and you can consume both of those things at the same time. Just like that. It's actually like, that could be what determines your life and death scenario. And then for that extra little oomph, what you are also able to do is you can go food, potion, food. And that will always be the order. Karambuan will always be last. Like, even if you decide to fill your inventory up with Karambuan, and you want to combo eat with that as the food, you won't be able to do Karambuan then potion. You'll actually, you see, like I clicked the both of them and it got like straight lagged, straight ruined. You will always have to, if your inventory is filled with Karambuan, it will always be potion then Karambuan. Like that is the Quam bands will always be the end of your order of eating. But okay. Then, another little tidbit tip, I am actually located in the Ferox Enclave, and for show, what's kind of troll, let me just pull one of these out real quick. The anglerfish currently has a price of 1952 GP, so almost 2K, and this blighted anglerfish costs 170 GP. And the blighted supplies are supplies that are only allowed to be used inside the PvP wilderness areas. So technically, we are in the Ferox Enclave, which is in the wilderness, and that means we are actually able to consume these blighted supplies. So for pre-potting, this is one of the best places to pre-pot. Just make sure you don't accidentally pass through the barrier and get killed and lose all of your loot. All right, that is the eating tech section. All right, we have our movement section. So up here next to the mini-map, you can see there is this little foot where you can toggle the run on and off. Right now, I currently have it on. Before we even get started with the movement, something that you can know about is that you can hold the control key and it will always invert whatever this current toggle is. So right now it's on run. I'm holding the control key. So when I click all the way over there, it will cause me to walk. And if you decide to turn it off and you press control, like right now you can see it's off, I'm holding control, it causes me to run. So the control key will always invert your movement. Now, for the base understanding of movement in the game, you basically need to consider that the game is like these little tic-tac-toe boards over here, right? The game ultimately is tile by tile, but the movement is greater than just moving only at 1 tile at a time. You can keep it that way by walking, right? Because you can only move 1 tile at a time by walking. But for instance, let's say we're going to start on tile 1. We will have our run toggled on. You can actually, in the same time, going from 1 to 2, you can get from tile 1 to tile 3, right? It takes the same amount of time. Not only that, but you can get from tile 1 to tile 6 in the same amount of time that it takes you to get from tile 1 to tile 3. So moving from tile 1 to tile 6 is an L walk. So you can kind of see, like, right, looks like the capital letter L. So there's multiple different ways you can move. That is not the only L that is in our nice little tic-tac-toe block over here. We could also go from 1 to 8. Right? We can also go from 8 to 3. we can go from 3 to 4, right? So there's tons of different L-walk movements. And then, because when you are running, you are technically skipping over a tile, you can go from 1 to 9, right? You can do it diagonally as well. So there's a few different options for movement. So you can see that while I'm clicking, the game actually has me registered in different areas. That's why it might look like I am not where I am, or I'm clicking a little bit too fast, but you actually are traveling and you're ahead of where your character is being displayed. That's basically the gist of the whole movement. The main thing though is if you want to get good at the movement, you go practice your agility at the Hollowed Sepulchre, and realistically, bosses like Vorkath and the Doom, the new Doom of Mocha Chocolata Yaya, those are good places for you to practice doing your walking and toggling using your control to switch between walking and running. Okay, now onto the prayer flicking section. So for prayer flicking, there's basically two different kinds of prayer flicking. It's the efficient, legitimate prayer flicking where you're going to use this prayer orb thing like up over here by the mini map. And what you'll have to do is you'll have to right click it and you'll set up your quick prayers. So you'll have to be aware of what encounter you're dealing with. So for right now, I guess we'll just practice it against the guard right here. And let's just say I want to have my protect from melee because I know the guard's going to melee me. And I want my piety prayer on because I want extra damage for when I'm going to deal damage against them. So what you'll do is, in order to prayer flick, you will first have to turn the prayer on. And I don't know, that's like the biggest mistake, like by far. Like forget the timing, forget the everything else. You can't do it if you literally don't start with them turned on. So turn the prayer on and then you go from there. So what you'll have to do is you'll get into the encounter and you will then basically just double tap by turning it off and then back on. It's basically as simple as that. And I know it's a lot of intense clicking, it's scary for people, and I'm only doing it against a guard, so right, there's no risk going on. Right, if you're in a high risk situation and you don't want to be smacked for 60 by a boss, right, it's a lot different compared to just doing it against a guard. But for sake of the video, we'll just take a look at the guard here. I get into that, we are now aggroed to the boss, and we'll see there I am, and I'm turning it off and on, 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 off and on. And this way you will never be hit by whatever you're dealing with. So that also means you have to actually pay attention to what is going on the screen. I know, crazy, right? You have to pay attention to what's going on in the game. You will actually be able to mess the time up and not be able to protect yourself, depending on if the attack is going through when you're turning it off. So there is also another way. So for the average person, what they'll be more comfortable with is called lazy flicking. And that's basically this. You'll see the guard is going in for the poke. I turn the prayer off, then I turn it back on right before he stabs me with the pokey. And it's as simple as that. You're turning it off and back on right before he does it. And the way that you see right there, I actually just missed it. So a lot of no risk going on here. And the way that the game works is there's essentially two different ways that the damage is calculated. It's either at the time that the cast is cast, right? If it's a spell, if it's however the instance of damage is sent at you, whether it is applied upon hit, right? When the hit actually happens to you, or the time that it is being sent out at you. So different encounters in the game have different ways that they are presented and performed against you. Okay, so at the Doom boss, for example, the damage does not calculate until the splat actually lands on you. So you can wait until the very last tick in order to activate your prayer. Okay, and now for the last part of our lesson in regards to our inventory, the setup and the remapping, the organization of our inventory, our menus, and whatnot. So first things first, we will take a look at the key remapping. You'll go into RuneLite, into the configuration, and then you can just type in key remapping. I happen to have mine favorited, so it's right here. And I will click this edit plugin configuration, and you will see that with this, key remapping, you can change your F keys to whatever keybind you so desire. Mine are set up from the F keys to just the normal number keys, so I'm able to press 1, 2, 3, 4 to switch through the menus. I have chosen just simply to go from left to right. 1 is my little combat tab, 2 is the inventory, 3 is the prayer, 4 is the magic, and 5, for some reason, I decided to not follow that rule and went back over here. So, with all of that said, that is the base of the key remapping. You can actually not be on the struggle bus of using the F keys, but not only that, we can go ahead and do this. We are actually able to use our mouse program, because I am using a Razer mouse, and I have a custom profile over here, and you can see the side buttons on the side of my Razer program are actually bound to 2 and to 3. So I will press my top mouse button for prayer and my back mouse button for the inventory. So if I'm feeling extra lazy and want to play lazy mode, I do not have to even have my left hand on the keyboard. Typically for harder content, I will have my hand on the keyboard, but if I'm doing something more relaxed, like a basic Slayer task, I will only use the mouse, which is very relaxing. All right, and now that we have established how to basically remap the keys, we will go into the finalization of our inventory screen setup. And that has to do with our inventory tags. So you can go back into the RuneLite configuration, type in inventory tags, and you go into the edit plugin configuration. And you'll see here that it allows me to put these cute little lines. Yes, that's right. All of these lines are because of this plugin, and it has allowed me to organize my gear as such. So I know that when I see this little green underline, it means it's range gear. So I can quickly swap between all of my melee gear. Whoop, just like that. In this case, I will actually just go into my inventory tag and reset it. So you can see it's as simple as shift clicking the item. I will shift and then right click, go to the inventory tag section, and then choose the color. For me, I have range as green, magic is blue, and melee is red. You can choose whatever color you like, as there is a custom color picker. That just happens to be the colors that I have chosen. And last but not least, now that we have some general organization for the gear, the last tip is if you just say are bringing teleports constantly with you, try to have a designated teleport spot in your inventory, right? Like I prefer to keep my teleport to player-owned house just down here in the bottom right, because I don't really need it over here clogging up space. Like if you're looting stuff on a Slayer task, whatever you pick up, it's going to go into your most open space, right? From left to right, from top to bottom. So I don't need my just teleport being in the way and then accidentally clicking on it. And the same thing would go for like a rune pouch that you might have. It can just be nestled and tucked away down in the bottom, and that way it will not be an inconvenience for you. All right, that concludes today's class. Runology 101 is dismissed. Thank you very much for tuning in. We hope you have a good now and a good rest of your now. Happy scaping. Oh, you're still here. All right, well, yeah, if you want some more, I'm pretty much live streaming like 5 days a week, like 4 hours at a time. But I'm on all of the platforms, so all of you Twitchers, all of you Kickers, all of you YouTubers, hop in, strap on, strap in, get ready for some fun, because we'll be memeing, we'll be playing, we'll be scaping.